This is very exciting. There's the fabulous Ender 3 Pro. I think it's just less than £200 in the UK. It is amazing. It was recommended to me by the nice man in the stall next to mine at Lincoln Asylum Steampunk event a couple of years ago, and I haven't looked back. Did my neck in. The only thing that's gone wrong with it during the meanwhilest is that, if you remember or seen a previous video, this tensioner snapped, so I made a new one with a couple of extra springs, but I think that was because it comes with just a plastic rod that the spool sits on, and the extra force needed, because you'd sit jerking round, whereas after I'd built the thing with a couple of bearings on it just to sit the spool on, I haven't had any issues at all, other than of course recently realising this mat had got ruined slowly with me scratching away with a scalpel because I didn't realise it was actually magnetic. How ridiculous. But here is the first part of the virtually created reflector. Amazing. Yeah, well, you can see what I mean by having the web at the back of that bit that sticks out. Also, interestingly, you can also see this strange effect at the bottom where it was too shallow. It's just not happy. It's done a very strange thing. It's constructed it, but it's a very odd effect. When it gets to a certain degree, and I'll measure that so I know what to do in the future, it's then perfect. And you can see the little raft at the bottom that it's created to actually get it to stick, which is pretty amazing considering how wide it's getting. I suppose there's no pressure on it because the schnozzle is just applying hot plastic, PLA filament. Look at this, it's finished printing after 6.5 hours. It really is amazing, and it's so smooth. There's the side bit, you can see it printed perfectly, having that web at the back. You can also see how strangely this effect, where it couldn't quite cope with the angle of the dangle. Oh, and there's the raft that snapped off that it printed to hold it on to the base. As you can see, it's just like that. It's very clever, and that was enough to support it and stick it to the base while it printed the rest of it. Oh, the box collection is growing nicely. What's going on here? Well, we are printing the brass in brass filament. The back bit, that funny shape there, is where the wire's going to go, just to allow them to travel up the back of it without being seen. You can see the network. I've set it to 25%, which makes it very tough once it's finished. You can see the innards with the 25% of crisscross fill. It really is amazing. Oh, I must stop using that word. Talk about overuse. Right, so carry on with that. That has been going 1 hour and 12 minutes and 12%. I think it said it was going to take 6.5 hours. So I'll get back to you once it's finished. I reckon if I switch the computer on now, it might actually let me do something in about 3 days' time after it's updated, ground around for hours doing nothing useful at all. I'll let you know how long it actually takes me. I think it took 2 hours yesterday switching on. Why do well, I know why laptops go out of date so quickly, because I want you to buy new ones. Ridiculous. Actually, that might have come up really quickly. Wonders will never cease. 26% in. You can see where it's now bridged over the top of that circular tube that I left to put the cables through. Isn't that amazing? It's just spanned over the top, but it shows you if you have a circular shape, or a circle, it can cope with going over the top. It just won't do it if it's just a hole, so to speak, if that makes any sense. Then it's best to use the support structures. Oh, I can't wait to see the prongs starting to be footprinted. Very exciting. The lovely shiny edges. It's just gorgeous. Gorgeous, I tells ya. Just trying to convince myself that these brass pieces will actually print, because if you think back to the reflector, it managed to print from about 45 degrees. It was fine with this bit but struggled with that, and now I've got it printing that bit. But I'm very pleased. I think it's going to be okay, because if you have watched the making of, so to speak, or the drawing of video, you'll know that I added these bits, this sort of web in here, because I thought it wouldn't print properly. It was just asking too much for it. So I'm hoping that that point will be about, well, it'll manage with it. I have to wait and see. Oh, the tension, can't bear it, it's tangible. 7 hours and 6 minutes later. Da, da, da. Look at that thing of beauty. So, with my newfound knowledge for that, then I will make it a lot easier to remove. Oh, how I hate working with time. This is taking far longer. It's so much more complicated than I thought. Never mind, mustn't grumble. I'll get this undone. In fact, I can't resist it. Give me a moment. Isn't that just joyous? Fantastic. And it did print perfectly with these webs here. It's just, oh, it looks fantastic. So, the moment of truth, and there's the twiddly bits. Let's get to this, which it will obviously be sprayed. That's going to go something like that. Isn't that incredible? The way it lines up perfectly. I can't tell you what an amazing experience it is when I have to make things with laser cutters and tools, bandsaws and pillar drills, and basically just to sit down and to draw something and then see it actually being created. I'm so pleased. I'm really pleased with how it looks. So, 7 hours later, it's too late now really to start another one and leave it running. My paranoia. So I will start tomorrow morning printing this bit, the copper bit, or indeed the bit that comes across the front. Well, if you wanted proof, it's a lovely M3 screw going into a lovely M3 thread. I was about to have another go at trying to sort out the alarm on the real-time clock thing, working with time and things, and which I always struggle with at the best of times, literally. When this finished printing, so I've got another excuse not to start. Here's the original one, and you can see that finish at the top was quite grotty, and it didn't actually manage to print clearly enough the alarm set embossed. So I've just finished printing this one. This has come out beautifully. You can see I've solved the problem with the alarm thing, the engraving, by having a rebate, which I'll then put an engraved, laser engraved label in. That finish is beautiful, and I'll tell you why it's beautiful, because this one and the previous ones I'd done on each layer being 0.14mm, I think. This one 0.06, which the instructions on the slicer said would give the highest quality, and it really has made a huge difference. That's beautiful, beautiful. Also, there's the support structure on the back, so I can get my pair of pliers and just twist this and this will all open. In fact, I might do that now. Pliers, 3D plastic, get you now. I'll try it. Well, you get the idea. And see, if I work at this a bit more, I'll get the nice dome shape inside. 20 minutes into printing copper, and I've made an official decision. I'm going to stop print, and I'll show you why. Here's the copper part, and I'm printing at 0.6. What that? Oh, that's where it's just stopped. Problem is this bit here. If you think back to the design, it was circular, so a cylinder, I wondered whether it would work, but it hasn't. It's all bowing up around the side, which will lead to awful things later on. So what I'm going to do is redesign it so it's got the circular top, but then just goes down straight. Now what I can do is I want to get the back flat. I will go to split, and instantly finds the centre, which is also very good. I wanted to keep the top, so I'm going to split that. There we are. There you can see I nearly managed to fill all of the inside in, it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to go to extrude down. What's it going to do? Aha, there we are. Perfect, so it's extruded down to the base. I don't quite know what the 2mm were. Right, so I've got that now. Now I can create another cylinder, which I should have saved. It was absorbed. Let's move that out a bit so I always have something to hang on to. Happy with that. So now we can go to edit, subtract, and there we go. We've got a nice hill still for the copper, but we've got a flat back. Right, I know that will print perfectly. Let's get back to the 3D printer. 4 hours, 10 minutes in, 66%. It seems to be printing really well. 0.06mm per layer, so that's very exciting. The new flickering lamps have arrived, which is very interesting. They don't quite fit through the hole in the back of the reflector. I'm going to rely on my practical skills. As always, I've mixed up far too much than I need. I need to race around the house within about 5 minutes finding anything else that needs filling. The other thing is, if you do use this stuff, I used to use it so much at college, Central School of Art and Design, industrial design, a long time ago. I used to use so much of it and making models to get all sorts of things that would probably be very easy these days. It was lovely to work with. The thing is, you only really do need a pea of this hardener to a golf ball size of that. You can even use a bit less. I've been, when in the past I've bought this and found someone actually opened it up and nicked all the hardener because they always think they're going to run out, but you don't. See what sort of mess I can make with this. So I'm going to take the dog for a walk. This will take about 10-20 minutes as it's quite warm to set. And I've sanded down the back of this, the wood filler, which is lovely and smooth, using 2 grades of wet and dry. So, as we were trained at college, I'm now going to spray this with primer, because until you spray it with some sort of paint, you don't quite get the idea of what's going on, what you're going to look at, how good it is. So I think I'm first of all going to drill out the hole in the middle. Because I use Plasticoat for most of the painting, I'm going to use a Plasticoat satin finish. I haven't got any primer, so we'll give that a go. I don't think there are any problems or issues. I reckon I can spray that silver once it's dry. 4 hours 46, 75%. It looks good. Very pleased with that. 0.06mm per layer, and it seems to have printed all the overhangs and everything perfectly. That's exciting. Oh. After yesterday's debacle with this being slightly too narrow, because I just took it straight off the 3D model where it did line up and forgot that it always is about 0.2mm bigger all round, so it didn't fit, and to prove it didn't fit I snapped the end off as I was trying to unfit it. So, dear friends, version 2. Doesn't it look beautiful? Look at that, printed out perfectly. I've subtracted another little bit away from this, make it bigger, and it's come out beautifully. And even more exciting still, look at that. Couldn't resist screwing the front on. And then this now, right, there we are. Oh, look at that. I am really pleased. Oops, that really does look, look at the way it catches the light, it's gorgeous. That's so exciting, because it's the first time I've created a standalone steampunk machine just using 3D printing. That's amazing. And there's the other bit. We've sprayed it silver. I don't know. I'm just not happy with some of these lines around here. It looks fine on the back. Now it's all sanded and sprayed. That looks fine. But I didn't print it in 0.6mm layers. Which I did for that, and that just looks gorgeous, as does that. So what I've decided to do, probably very unwisely, is to reprint the reflector, but with 0.6mm layers, and also with a support structure at the back, because I want to sand it off. Even if it looks a bit rough, I'll sand it down. And that's going to take 20 hours. That's right, you didn't mishear me, 20 hours. So I better start it going now, and then wake up tomorrow and still have it going most of tomorrow. How ridiculous! But I think it'll be worth it. Look at this thing of beauty. Again, just like an architectural model. Gorgeous. Surrounded by a lovely support structure like miniature scaffolding, which I suppose in effect it is. Very clever, as always, very clever, because it hasn't gone right to the top. It's gone past the part where it didn't print before, the sort of 45-degree tangent, something or other. And then the top is quite happy printing above that. Now this was set on 0.06mm, which is the highest standard, apparently. And so far it has taken 18 hours 59. So 19 hours, and it's done 62%. I'll have to wait probably about another 4 hours for that. Ridiculous. It's not a fast process, but it is amazing. Oop, I've said it again. It's insanity, I tells you. It's lied, the slicer software lied. It said 20 hours. It's now been 21 3/4 hours, and it's only done 76%. That's crazy, but it is beautiful. I just want to get it together. Talking of which, I've got the socket for the flickering lamp, which is that. On eBay, I'll put the thing up, whatever. It's very nice. It's not 2 watts like they advertise it for. It's an awful lot less than that. It's about 40 milliamps possibly. I can't work out what that is at 5 volts. Anyway, this is the problem, the offending item now. How to get the wires through here into the LED, the alarm set LED, which is flickering. Now I had glued one in because I couldn't wait any longer. I tried to join it all up, solder it, heat shrink it, and the wires wouldn't fit down inside this wretched 4mm diameter brass tube. So I drilled it out and had a cogitate, and what I've decided to do is use the tripod, dear friends. How lovely. What I've decided to do, which I was considering after having printed all this, is the LED is going to go in there, the legs on the back can spread apart, and have a very thin wire running up a slot cut in the back of there, wrapped round. Can you see where this is going? Round around there. That means that when I screw this down onto here, I can have the 2 equivalent wires wrapped around here, running down inside, through hills, out the back. I wish I'd, well, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like I've said so many times, you try and think of all possible improvements and things while you're doing it. Well, they're not improvements then, but best way of doing it. And you don't. Now, it'll be easy to print, so I'm probably going to change the original in case I want to make more of these beautiful things. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. And it's amazing, because it goes from days to, well, hours to days. 1 day, 2 hours, 33 minutes. It's beautiful on the inside, but look, I think I need some more filler. Day, whatever it is. But finally, we're ready for final assembly. Here's the new one of these with the grooves printed inside and the 2 holes for the LED wire. If you remember the original one, I tried to adapt with the vibrating saw thing and just wrecked the whole lot. So, got that done. Got the beautiful new reflector done that took 24.5 hours to print, but you can see the difference. Oh, look at this, it's coming on. I've got, there's the holder for the flickering LED. There's the wires, the 2 colour wires for the alarm set LED, and that is now mounted in, and a couple of thin bits of wire going through these holes. Oh, and I've stuck these wires down with super glue and baking powder, or soda, yeah, baking powder. Apparently if you mix them it really makes a very, very tough filler that they can use even on cars and things. So as you can see, that will sit on there, and the wires will push through the holes if I can actually get them through. That's it. Then I can screw them down with the brass screws, just wrapping them together, and that'll make a good contact. And then if you need to take this off again, it's possible. The next parts, the next jobs, are to glue the lovely reflector on, which I'm so loath to do, considering it took 24.5 hours to print. The thought of gluing on if something goes wrong, and also gluing the nice copper bit on to feed the wires through. But I'm going to have to bite the proverbial bullet and just get on with it. I am thrilled to bits with this. It has come out really nicely. I've got the alarm set flickering LED on. Might be a little bit, it's not too dim for me to see, but oh, there we go, yep. And look at that reflector, it just looks gorgeous. I've got the little copper pipe on and the other little bits and pieces. Oh, very, very pleased. I mean, just, oh, I'm thrilled that it looks so nice from every angle. And it's shiny and gorgeous. Right, let's see what it looks like once the alarm has gone off. Oh yeah. Oh, I can't believe it. That looks so nice. Oh, that's lovely. What a great effect. You can see the flickering effect there. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, I'm thrilled to bits with that, I have to say. I think that looks absolutely lovely. Excellent. We can sort of now get a feel of what it's going to look like. That's the dial, obviously, the clock face, and then it's going to fit together like this. So there's the clock housing, which I haven't sprayed up because I don't want to risk scratching it yet. There's the motor that's going to work the flute, and there's the flute. There's the lovely new bit, and there's the encoder, the control valve that will control everything. So that's the sort of layout that I'm intending. I can't actually put it on a baseboard, unfortunately, because I'm desperate to, because Erin's carpenter, we're still waiting for them to work out the exact size of the cupboard door that she's having made from wood, and then once we know that, then I can get on and make the baseboard. Oh, I can't wait. It's so exciting. How fabulous. Do get in touch if you've got any ideas of things that you'd like to be made. Always happy to help. And do remember, my advice, install, if you've got Windows, current Windows operating system, install 3D Builder and just have a play. It is so much fun. The fact I can now see this, get out of the way, I can now see this looks like how I planned it in 3D Builder. Amazing. I'll just have to film it some more, this time handheld. Look at all the lovely reflections. Oh, it just looks gorgeous, and all the dimples around the reflector. Oh, so exciting, as I was saying, rudely interrupted, to be able to create something that looks realistic on the screen, and then to hold what you've designed once it actually exists in real life. Love all the reflections. Anyway, enough self-adulation. I need to get on. Nice, and now I've got this designed, I can make more of them. Brilliant. Thanks very much for watching. Hope to see you next time.